The Messiah had been born. But they didn't think the messenger would look like that. Really, for generations, they've heard stories and predictions of the Messiah, Savior. But none of those stories were compared to this. You see, they thought that the Messiah would come in sort of blazing, come in dressed in royal robes like the other kings they had known before. The Messiah meant anointed one, the Savior. And so they thought that this king would be dressed in purple robes, dazzling jewels, crowns. They thought that this king would be from David's lineage, so it would be some noble in character, strong, forceful, be obvious to pick out, no one that anyone would want to mess with or disagree with, because the Messiah would make everything right. For generations, they've been waiting for one. During Isaiah's time, the kings were abusive of their power. They were violent. They hoarded their money. They didn't care about the poor. And then even when they had their own kings, they still didn't care about the poor either. So the Jews hoped for a Messiah that would bring them peace and justice. The Romans were a little afraid of that. And the poor, they just didn't have any hope at all. Because you see, the poor were thought to be poor because they weren't blessed, because God didn't care about it, because they weren't really worthy of God's attention. So all this talk of the Messiah, everyone knew that a Messiah was coming. Everyone said, be on the lookout. That's what Isaiah was talking about, and that's what Matthew was talking about, that's what Luke was talking about. Look out, the Messiah is coming, and one day everything's going to be different. Except for the poor. It wouldn't be different. And so, when the word's out that the Messiah comes, and it's not on a horse, but it's on a donkey, and it's not in a fortress, but it's in a barn. No one expected anything like that. Couldn't be the Messiah, could it? Maybe it could. Maybe it could. But it's just a baby, right? I mean, it's just a frail baby. It's a baby born to illegitimate parents, born without a home, born and put into a feeding trough. What kind of Messiah is that? They had been promised that there would be a Messiah, but this wasn't what they thought they were promised. And yet, here it is. Here's the Messiah that they got to deal with. And here's the Messiah that we got to deal with too. It is a frail little baby laying in a trough that horses and donkeys have been eating hay out of. Born of an ordinary mom and dad, illegitimate, because they weren't even married yet. What kind of Messiah is that? Well, maybe it's the kind of Messiah that is making everything different, but not the kind of difference that they thought. Maybe the fact that this little baby is born in a manger, born without shelter, born alone, isolated from everyone. Maybe the point of that is that Jesus cared for those people who are living on the margins. Is that Jesus, this Messiah, was really not about the in crowd, but about the people who had been out, the people who had been living on the margins, the people who had been dismissed, the poor and the forgotten. Maybe the fact that this is where the Messiah came into the world meant that the world was going to soon be a place for those that were forgotten, for those who didn't think they'd be blessed. Maybe the fact that the Messiah was laid in a manger like this was because he would one day be feeding the world with his body. And maybe the fact that it was the shepherds who were the lowliest, the smelliest, the worst of the lot of them. Maybe that the shepherds were the first one to hear this message. Maybe that's because this message is first for the shepherds' kind of people. That's the crazy story of this Messiah that we're all here to celebrate tonight. This is where he's born, because this is where his story begins. And this is how his world comes into live. The crazy thing is, ever since the story began here, we Christians have been trying to pretty it all up again. And it's not that pretty. I mean, we make these lovely little manger scenes here, and Mary looking all happy. You can't really see her here, but she's smiling down at Jesus. Yeah, for crying out loud, she just rode in on a donkey, gave birth to a baby. You think she'd really be smiling like that? And we pretty up our houses. Mine's all nice and decorated. I mean, the whole notion is that there's light being born into darkness, only we're not so comfortable with darkness because I got more lights in my house than I ever have. Right? And we pretty up ourselves. We figure out what nice outfit we're going to wear to church. Ever since Jesus was born, Jesus, the Messiah, and turned the world on its ear, we've been trying to neaten it all up together. That's not what this Messiah is doing for us. He's making it a little messy. This is the Messiah that says, I am here to bring hope to those who are hopeless. I am here to bring relationship to those who feel all alone. I am here to bring power to those who feel powerless. How is this power? Where's the army? This is power. The power of love and the power of grace. If you've ever had an infant in your house, you actually know just how powerful they can be. This is power. Now, I know we get it, because one of the things that's beautiful about this season is just how much more we're moved to charity. It's true, isn't it? I see it. I've been fortunate to see it here at this church. We've had an outpouring of gifts and clothes for those who are struggling. People are filling the buckets at Salvation Army in front of those stores. People are bringing in food so folks will have their meals. I mean, I know we get it, that Jesus is about a more generous world. The question is whether we're willing to get it the other 11 months out of the year. He came and he made all things different, whether we get it or not. So celebrate Christmas. Celebrate it with an open heart. And celebrate it with open eyes. Looking for the Messiah to be born in unexpected ways and unexpected places. Celebrate it tonight. Be thankful that you're able to celebrate in this beautiful sanctuary with angelic music, to be sure. I'm grateful for all of that. But then remember that he was born in a place that was very, very different than this. And born for people who are probably a lot different than the likes of you and me. People who really need to know about the Messiah are the people who aren't here today. But here's the thing. If the shepherds are able to bring that message of the Messiah's birth to others, then, well, maybe so can you and I bring that message too. All of us. Merry Christmas. Be a part of this 2,000-year celebration. Be ready for the unexpected. Because sometimes the gospel comes from some strange place, some strange guy in jeans, a boot, and a ski cap. Amen.